VHS. And you all, this episode of Hawkeye, this finale, they cleaned it up well. And for me, it was really about four families, right? You've got the Black Widow family, you've got Hawkeye's family, you've got Kate Bishop's family, and then, of course, you've got Maya, the loss of her dad and her family. So I don't think it should come as any surprise that people work with Wilson Fisk, but just going kind of in reverse order. Maya and her dad have been, tight and working with Wilson Fisk. And as we all know, from not just the first Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck and the series that we saw on Netflix that I loved, each season, Wilson Fisk is just not that dude to mess with. And because of, my boy, Mr. Ridiculous, I now have a better perspective into New York. I've only visited New York, but people that live there understand that you can be in that neighborhood and completely just pull away from the world. So hopefully we'll get to wrap that up. I definitely want to hear my boy's thoughts on this because New York as a whole is represented actually very well in the MCU. And yeah, with Maya and her, family, it is tragic. It is sad. But what was her dad doing? If you don't want that life, don't bring kids into this life, which is like, ugh, like, how do you even say that? Everybody wants kids, right? Well, why would you bring them in that life? So when you're working for Wilson Fisk, don't mess up. Plain and simple. Don't mess up. He's not the one you want to have, upset and mad. And he fits in perfectly in the street team of the MCU because he can do so much damage. Why would Tony Stark want to face Wilson Fisk? He won't. They don't show up on each other's radars at all. Why would Wilson Fisk show up on Thor's radar? They don't show up not at any point do they face off. And then why would, T'Challa, Cha-Cha, why would he show up on Wilson Fisk's radar? He won't. So it's up to SpiderMan, Daredevil, young Hawkeye. It's up to whomever is in that neighborhood to deal with that neighborhood. Once the threat starts moving to outer space or the Eternals with Deviants or Chitauri, once the battle moves to a different realm, you get to see different people. And I think they did a great job of showing that on this show. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Thank you for tying in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's about time. But yeah, once again, it's unfortunate that someone as gifted and as talented as Maya is tied in with Wilson Fisk, and he treated her like a daughter, right? So yeah. Oh boy. The Bishop family. Now, Vera Farmiga is one of the best actresses of, our day. Like, I think I first saw her in Running Scared with Paul Walker, which, much respect to him. Running Scared with Paul Walker. Then The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon. Like, boy, like, thank you for that movie. Y'all were really doing it and showing us a little bit of Boston. Which, give me some donuts, Boston. God, what else? Bates Motel, definitely in that. There's countless other things that Vera and her sister are in that are all quality work. It's all good stuff. She hasn't put out anything bad, and she's always, she always fits the part so well. But yeah, Mom, you're causing a lot of trouble on Christmas. Eleanor Bishop, you were causing a lot of trouble on Christmas, and her story is very familiar to the setup of Weeds. Mary Louise Parker, Nancy Botwin, when dad dies and he was in with the mafia and all these bad things and was unrealistic, all that debt rolls on to Eleanor, which Kate Bishop never had to touch it. She chose that. If she would have just been a regular girl and sat at home and not done archery, not done karate, not wanting to be a vigilante and loved Hawkeye, we might have not seen any of this. We would have just saw Clint and Yelena fighting out in the Times Square, and that would have been it. It's I can unsnap that one for you. That would have been it. But Kate saw Hawkeye. She saw him and wanted to be just like him and knew that he didn't have a hammer, a suit of armor, or big green, I get angry Hulk powers, from gamma radiation. She chose her hero and loved it. As the musical points it out, like Hawkeye just wants a clean New York. But yeah, so I mean, you've got Maya's family. You've got Kate Bishop's family. And then, of course, you've got the last two. You've got the Hawkeye and you've got the Black Widow family. I just applaud Yelena Florence Pugh wholeheartedly. Like, I really just love her as a character. Like, I love her spin on Black Widow, because if you know anything about the Black Widows, and you brushed and flirted with them in the past like I have, I had this image in my mind of these two Black Widows squaring off with guns trying to shoot and kill each other. Then when they gave that to us in the Black Widow movie, I was like, dude, okay, like, let's go. Because let's be honest, that Black Widow program resurrected and picked up exactly what the Winter Soldier let go. Like, they picked it up wholeheartedly and embraced it with all these young ladies that nobody cared enough to go after. Save the children. So, just kudos to her. It was awesome seeing, Black Widow on screen. Yelena just doing her thing, trying to avenge her sister, because how would she know? During the snap, okay, she was running on a rooftop trying to resurrect and help free with the red mist, free the Beatrix Kiddo, Kill Bill widow, who was living off of her, wealth and fame for being an assassin. So she was getting snapped in and out of reality in a bathroom, wakes up 5 years later. How was she supposed to know where Nat was? How was she supposed to know where Nat and Hawkeye were? That they were facing off to sacrifice themselves for that soul gem. Like, how would she know that? So, of course, you need to feel these hands, Clint. You were there last. You did it. I know about you. I know who you are. I know what you've, been doing. So it's time for you to feel these hands. So, why wouldn't she know about Ronin? She's an assassin. Why wouldn't she know about Ronin on the radar at some point? They're not supposed to clash or fight each other at that point. They didn't have contracts on each other. So, my hat's off to her. Loved her performance. Loved seeing the Black Widow rivalry with Hawkeye restored. I love seeing how they put that together. But yeah, last but not least, Hawkeye's coming home for Christmas. 2 of them. So that was dope. Love seeing Kate Bishop welcomed into the family. And I love seeing the S.H.I.E.L.D. tie-in, which it made a lot of sense for the way the conversations went between Clint and his mom. It made a lot of sense. I loved it, and it was dope. These tie-ins that Marvel is doing, my boy, Mr. Ridiculous, was right. They're giving you a doorway, right? Which is so pleasing to me. I don't need much, right? Just give me a little crumb. Give me something. Let me know that the crowded MCU of New York knows about each other. But now I know better. I've been corrected. I understand. New York only reveals itself to you when New York feels like it. Hell's Kitchen, it's not Manhattan. Manhattan is not the Bronx. These places reveal themselves to you when they choose to. Not everybody's like Captain America. I can do this all day. They're not all singing. They're not all in the musical, some just want to be underneath the bridge. Some want to pay for the bridge. Some want to be the bridge. You never know. So overall, I love the show. I wanted a Matt Murdock cameo, but with Kingpin, you really don't need much more than that. Kingpin ties in so many people. I mean, there's Daredevil, Elektra, Punisher, Spider-Man, and the list goes on. So I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Thank you. It was a great addition for the holidays. And yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.